Cashflow Diary Podcast, episode 352.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast, the podcast that teaches you insider tips, tactics, and strategies for creating leverage streams of cash flow into your life. Learn from top-performing entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, and thought leaders from across the globe as they share their secrets to success. Like what you learn on this and other Cashflow Diary podcast episodes? Go to learninvestingnow.com and sign up to receive powerful tips and information that will help you succeed as an entrepreneur and investor. Now, here's your host, investor, entrepreneur, business owner, educator, speaker, author, and master facilitator of Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow game, Jay Massey.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Diary Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Massey, and I'm glad that you're here today because we're going to talk about how you can probably even end up with a business by the end of this message. Yes, end of this one. What do you mean? I know, you're thinking, like, how am I going to end up with a business by the end of this one? Just stay tuned. You'll like it. I promise. More importantly, here's what's going to happen. A transformation. You're going to begin to think about something completely differently than you've probably thought about it before. And more importantly, you're going to find another tool to help your business grow. You're like, Jay, I don't have a business yet. I told you, you can have one by the end. But more importantly, those of you with one, you might find a tool today that has the ability to help you explode growth, explode retention, making sure that your branding and marketing and engagement are on point. And more importantly, you're just in front of your customers where they are. I have with me today one person that I think you're going to want to know. What do I mean by that? I think he's done some amazing things in the space with your mobile phone. You're like, okay, where's this going, Jay? Well, what if people actually responded to your message? What if you owned a restaurant and could actually pack the house on any given night you wanted to, and you knew how to do it, i.e., you could make customers come, literally, when you called? Well, David Pitts is here to show you and I how he's managed to help entrepreneurs not only start a business, but make sure that other businesses have that ability, because that's exactly what he and his company set out to do. And guys, they're killing it. Could you imagine having 7 million mobile subscribers to anything that you're doing? I think it's time for us to take notes. It's time for us to listen to none other than David Pitts. David, you there?
I am, Jay. Thank you so much. What an introduction, man.
Well, you did the work. I'm just like, what? I mean, it's just amazing when entrepreneurs go out there with an idea and absolutely explode it. So this being your first time here, sir, I have to ask you the same question I tend to ask everybody else their first time. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. I tend to look at today's entrepreneurs a lot like yesterday's superheroes. So if you will, Batman, Robin, Superman, Wonder Woman, etc., superheroes. And I think entrepreneurs and superheroes have a ton of things in common. Chief among them, we use our special skills, abilities, etc., to go out there and serve people, help their life get better in some way, shape, or form. Now, occasionally, yes, some entrepreneurs do want to get dressed up in tights and capes and masks, but you kind of get the idea of where I'm going. But also, like superheroes, entrepreneurs have a beginning. For example, if you think about Spider-Man and his origin story, he was just a kid going to college, trying to, get the right grades and take some photos for the newspaper. That was pretty much it. Nothing too special. And then something intervenes and then makes him special, with which he then has to choose, am I going to use my special superhuman ability that I've been gifted for good or evil? So my question to you, sir, is that before SMS Masterminds, before Off Day Trainer, before 7 million mobile subscribers, which I think is insane, before any of these things, what we want to know is, who is David Pitts?
Yeah, great question, man. That's awesome. And I got a good answer for you, I think. It starts off, I was the average kid who was real into sports. I love to exercise, and football happened to be my life, all through college. I grew up working out, eating right, training hard. And I knew no other way, like training for the NFL was my life until
Okay.
until until all of a sudden that dream didn't pan out.
I
Right.
see.
So now I find myself back home and really trying to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with the rest of my life. Because up until that point, football was everything. And I stumbled upon a career in the health and fitness space as a personal trainer because I got certified through college to kind of make some money part time while playing ball and during the off season. And what I learned early on is, I had a passion for health and fitness, and it surprised me to learn that not everybody else did, right? So it was a natural transition for me. And also, I really genuinely loved helping people. I loved helping people achieve things that they didn't think they were capable of. And maybe, this was the start to my superhero moment, if you will. This was me delivering those newspapers, right? Like I was genuinely interested in my clients' results and not just selling my clients my services, right? So I would obsess over the relationship and connecting with all of my clients on a personal level. And I think because of my obsession with that, it's what put me in the position that I'm in today.
Well, you know what? I like a number of things that you said, chief among them being genuinely interested in the client's results. And we're going to get to that in a moment. But I've got a question that I'm sure some people are wondering. So if you're training for the NFL, like what does breakfast look like? Is it raw eggs? I mean, seriously.
Well, it depends on which stage of my life, man. In high school, it was anything I could put in my mouth and so on and so forth. But yeah, I went through that stuff, man. I went through I was putting raw eggs in my protein shakes. I wasn't doing the Rocky Balboa style, like just taking them down, but it was a lot of eggs. Like in college, I would eat, no joke, 8 to 12 eggs for breakfast with my turkey sausage. I would cook up a couple tortillas because I was training so hard that I was putting down as much calories as I possibly could.
Wow. Okay, cool. Got it. I've had the privilege of meeting some NFL players as they're towards the end of the career and they're, looking for their next thing to do. And a lot of them consider real estate. And every last one of them I've ever sat with, they make me feel like a tiny, tiny person. And to a man, they've all said, "Oh, you should have seen me when I was like at my prime." I'm like, "You look pretty good right there." I'm happy, they're just so huge.
Absolutely, man. That's a lifetime of commitment and dedication right there.
Well, and what I find interesting about what you said is that, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs discover this, we have a natural bent passion, if you will, for something. And the thought through our head is like, doesn't everybody like this? I mean, I love this so much. How can you not? Like in your case, how can you not like health and fitness? What is wrong with you? That is very, that was probably a very common thing for your perspective at that time.
You're right. And what's interesting is for quite a few number of years, when I first started training, I mean, I got to the point where I was managing a team of trainers within, the first years. I was working for a big box gym. And I honestly, I was training my client or charging my clients a premium for my services. And I didn't even necessarily believe in it for a long time. Because for me, like for a long time, it was just, man, I'm putting these guys through a workout and they're going to pay me $75 a session. Like, this is crazy, right? How could people pay me $500 a month to put them through these workouts? And I had a client one time actually who put everything into perspective for me, and she showed me and told me exactly how much my services meant to her, and it completely changed my perspective on what I did and what I wanted to do with my life.
Well, what I think is now that I think every entrepreneur goes through, where we undervalue what we take for granted because we're so passionate about it. We're like, I do this for free and you want to pay me? How much? And so talk about that transition. What was it that she said that made you finally go, oh, well, shoot, maybe I need to increase my price?
Yeah, it's an interesting story, man. To be honest, it was the first time I had met this woman. So this is a 58-year-old Hungarian immigrant. She did not want to train with me. It's real, man. So the way it happened is is her son actually purchased training sessions with me for her, and she didn't want to come. And so it's the end of a long day. I'm full-time training at the gym. It's like 8 o'clock. I'd been there since 6 a.m. And I get a page from the front desk that I have, a client waiting for me. So this is either a prospect or a client whom I've never met. So it's a rare scenario that it's actually somebody who's already committed, but I've never met them. So I go down and I try to put on, my best foot forward. I'm friendly, I'm energetic, I'm very welcoming, and I thank her for choosing me, and I'm telling her how happy I am to help her and all of this stuff. And as we're heading upstairs to the fitness floor and into my office, she stops me and she tells me, and she barely speaks English, but she tells me that she doesn't want to be there. She tells me the only reason she's there is because her son spent thousands of dollars for her to work with me, and she rolls her eyes, right? And I'm like blown away. I've never had this happen. So I tell her, I apologize if there's a misunderstanding. I could connect you with a different trainer, or we can definitely give you a refund, or your son a refund. And she just looks at me and kind of like rolls her eyes and says like, no, I'm going to give it a try, or something like that. And we start walking upstairs. So honestly, this was early in my career. Like, had this happened later in my career, I probably wouldn't have taken her because she was so incredibly rude. And I took it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to get through this. And it was the worst session I ever had in my life. Like I learned about her goals and all this stuff. And we went out on the fitness floor, and I do my little like test of where she's at from a conditioning standpoint and strength and all this stuff. Very simple basics, just more of a learning session. The whole time I'll ask her how certain movements feel, and she doesn't even answer me. She just completely ignores me, and so on and so forth. Just anyways, miserable. So long story short, after this, I'm telling my wife, I'm like, man, this woman was crazy. I'm certain she's going to ask for a refund. I can't believe it, right? And sure enough, the next 2 days later, she shows up. She's on time, and she actually tells me that she enjoyed like the feeling of soreness that she felt. She was a little sore, and she actually enjoyed it. So to me, there was hope. So I kept the client. 6 months down the line, she comes up and she's late. Now, this is a woman who 6 months later has lost 50 pounds. She's my favorite client, hands down. Like at this time, my demographic was high school athletes who were trying to train for the collegiate level. So I trained kids that worked hard. She was the hardest working client I had. She was disciplined. She showed up every session on time. She'd stay after and do whatever I asked her to do. And she got crazy results through this. So this particular day, she's 10 minutes late. And as she's coming upstairs, I could tell she had been crying. And I'm like, holy crap, Gabriella, are you okay? What's going on? And she asks if she can speak with me in private in my office. I go, of course. So we sit down in my office, and she goes on to tell me about all of the benefits that she's experienced by training with me. She goes on to tell me how her business is flourishing, and how prior to, she was afraid that she was going to go under because she didn't have the energy, she didn't have the strength, she didn't have the confidence to continue to work the hours she was doing. She was depressed, she was miserable, all this stuff. And now she's telling me life has changed. She's telling me, she feels like she's 30 years old again. She's got more energy than she's ever had in her life. She tells me in her country, they didn't have PE in school or any kind of exercise program. So this was the first time she had ever really done anything like this. And she just went on to thank me, and she started crying again as she told me her story. And I won't go into details, but basically she tells me her story of 30 years prior to this moment. She migrated to the US with her 1-year-old son, a single mother with no friends, no family here in the States. And she came here because it was her dream to provide opportunity and a life for her son that she never had. And she's talking about eating out of trash cans and going through dumpsters for clothes and having to work 4 jobs just to survive and all this stuff, right? And she tells me how it was her mission in life to provide a better life for her son. And I'm not kidding you, Jay, man. She looks at me with tears in her eyes, and she says, but in reality, it's he who has provided a better life for me because he introduced me to you. And I'm like, wait, what? I was blown away, man. I couldn't believe it. And here at the time, I'm just a young kid who's putting people through workouts, and I think it's second nature to everyone, like it is for me. And it just totally blew my mind, man. So we finished our conversation, and I left there just a completely changed man. Like I realized the impact that I had on her life, and it goes beyond the 2 or 3 times a week we meet at the gym. It goes on to what those workouts and the mindset, the psychology of the way she interprets life now on a daily basis. It totally changed my world, man. And I was addicted. I drank the Kool-Aid, and I wanted that for as many people as I possibly could.
Totally understood. Totally understood. So let me ask you one of the most difficult questions ever. So what do you charge for changed my life? How do you price that?
What do you mean, like in regards to training sessions?
Yeah. Well, this happens. What you are mentioning happens for nearly every service provider, because at the beginning, I know I felt the same way. It's like, I don't, hey, who's going to listen? Who's going to pay for anything that I have to say? And then suddenly I started seeing people get results, and then they were telling me, they're informing me how valuable this time, this information, all these things were. And you're going through that same experience. And it's like, how do you charge appropriately for changed my life? That's what and when you say it, you're, like in the marketing, or this program will change your life. It doesn't sound right, but it's like, I don't know any other better words.
Yeah. It's interesting, and I often give talks to fit pros on this specifically, because it's really understanding that in the service industry, whether you're in the fitness space or not, I think if you're in the service industry, you have the opportunity to really provide an experience to your customers that could potentially be life changing. I mean, of course, it depends on the industry you're in, but at least in my world, a lot of us fit pros, we say we have the unique opportunity to be the best part of somebody's day every day. And if you could recognize that and take advantage of that opportunity, not only is business going to thrive, but the people that have the opportunity to work with you are going to live those life-changing experiences, and they're going to tell their friends and family about how amazing you are, and they'll pay any dollar amount, for the most part, that within reason, obviously, that you want to charge, and they'll stay with you for as long as you'll allow them to stay with you, because it goes above and beyond the results. Now we're starting to talk about the experience and the relationship that you've created with your customers. And that, my friend, that is what I'm obsessed with, is the relationship.
Yeah. Well, and let's talk about that, because I think that has something to do with how you end up where you are today when it comes with SMS Masterminds and Off Day Trainer and all the other things that you've got going on. So before we describe what that is, take us to the journey. How do you go from, okay, you just changed her world, to text messages?
Yeah. Great
Help
question.
us bridge that for us, man.
Yeah, so let me tell you. So I started thinking outside the box, and to be a matter of fact, thinking outside the session. So what I started obsessing with, okay, what did I do with this woman to create this kind of experience and this kind of impact? So I looked at everything I did with her, like from the sessions to, how I sent her program, how I delivered it, the energy I had, and what really stood out to me was what I was doing with her outside of the session. So she was somebody that I was She asked me to connect with her out, like on a regular basis, to remind her to eat the right foods and to do the workouts that I programmed for her on her off days. And I'm like, what I'm doing with Gabriella? I'm freaking delivering touch points to her, like 5 days a week. So we're only meeting twice a week. So that's 2. But then I was sending her a text message at least 3 days a week, telling her how much I care about her, reminding her to do the workout that I had prepared for her, or reminding her that the food she eats dictates the results she's going to get, reminding her of her goals and why they're important to her. And what I was doing was I was influencing her behavior through text messaging. Right. So I started obsessing over this, and I'm like, shoot, let's run with this. So I started telling all the clients I signed up with and all my current clients, look, guys, I don't care if you like it or not. I'm going to text the heck out of you, because I know every one of you does what you're supposed to do when you're with me at the gym. And And the reality is not every single person achieves these crazy transformations. And it's not because I suck at training. It's because there are 4 or 5 days a week that you're not coming to meet with me. And I need you to remain disciplined. I need you to stay motivated and do the right things when I'm not around. Unfortunately, I can't go to the grocery store with you guys, and I can't cook your meals, and I can't feed you. I need you to remain disciplined. I need you to do your part. And I know if I'm constantly reminding you of your goals and why they're important to you and motivating you and delivering that accountability, it's going to ultimately lead to better results. And when I explain it like that, these are all people who are paying me a lot of money to help them achieve a goal. They're not paying me a lot of money for training sessions. They want the end result, right? So everyone's like, heck yeah, okay, I'm on board. Let's do it. So long story, man, I was texting my clients like crazy. And I thought I was the best trainer in the world. I became known as the results guy in my area, while other trainers were worrying about, the next best workout methodology or the next best diet. I was obsessing over making sure my clients were just doing something active on their off days.
Got it.
And that's where it all happened for me. And now the problem became my solution doesn't scale.
No, I'm like, that's a lot of text messaging.
There's only one of me, man. So it got to the point I was sending groups of text like crazy. And I was spending 3 or 4 hours a week texting my clients. So I would work these long shifts and, trying to spend time with the wife and kids, and my phone is blowing up and I feel the need to respond and send out these messages. And it was exhausting. And I'll never forget, I had a client one time who I signed up. I sold her like a $3,500 package, and I got this like horrible feeling in my stomach, and I felt like I was stealing her money because I had stretched myself so thin, and I felt like even though I had more clients than ever and I was making more money than ever, I wasn't delivering the experience or even the results that I once took pride in, and I wasn't doing my end. So that didn't resonate well with me. And ironically, how this whole thing panned out, man, is one of my longtime clients was the CEO of SMS Masterminds, a very successful text messaging company. And I pitched him this idea that I had for helping me text my clients. I said, look, man, I'm spending a lot of time texting my clients, and I know a lot of other trainers who are as well. And if you can help us do that, if you can help me, we might have something big here. And he goes, yeah, man, you're right. We can do that right now. And so once I got in and learned about his technology and how it was working, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Like, this might not work because I can't just send a mass text to all my clients and expect that to like move them. Like, once they know it's an automated message, it's going out to hundreds of people or even, 5 people for that matter. It doesn't matter. Like, if it's not personalized, it loses its value. So I said, we got to personalize these things or it's no go. And he goes, you're right. And I said, can we do that? He says, no, but we can build it. So that's how the Off-Day Trainer product was born. Is what we've done is we've created a technology that is smart enough to recognize any of your customers or any of your prospects by name, by status, by goal, and it could send them personalized automated messages that are designed to inspire action and get them to do the right things to achieve the results they're paying you for.
What I love about this is that you weren't sitting around one day going, hey, I want to start a business and what does the market need, so to speak. You weren't starting from that standpoint. You were just trying to solve a problem. And in this particular case, your own quality of life. Well,
that's right.
Because you were you were out there delivering and helping other people improve their quality of life while yours was going the other direction. And you're like, what? I there has to be a solution. And you just made it. I love that gumption, if you will, to just like, hey, it's not out here. I don't know where it is, but if it's not out here, we'll just make it together. What's interesting sometimes is sometimes your idea is good. It's great. It's something that the marketplace needs, but because you can't see how to make it happen on your own, it doesn't come to life. And that's unfortunate. What you are hearing is an entrepreneur who did not let that get in his way. What he didn't know, he didn't let stop him. Period. And I find that to be interesting. So interesting, in fact, that a lot of people have begun asking me, because they've seen that we started doing things in the short-term rental space. Yes, this is talking about sites and leveraging sites like, HomeAway, Airbnb, TripAdvisor, etc., and wondering how there's so much I don't know, Jay. How can I make some money? How can I go out there and build my real estate portfolio and make things happen? Well, we're putting something together for, well, you. So go over to cashflowdiary.com/coming soon. Again, that's cashflowdiary.com/coming soon, because you can put yourself on the list there and we'll make sure that you get the info. If you've ever thought about maybe this idea, maybe this property could work, you're probably right. And I'm going to show you how. Just go over to cashflowdiary.com/coming soon. Now, I just got to ask, before this, did you have any prior tech background?
No, none whatsoever, man. None.
So no coding experience.
Nope.
Okay, great. I want to bring that up. So when you thought through this process, did you ever go, to yourself, I don't know how to do any of these things that I would need? Was that ever a hurdle for you?
Oh, it scared the hell out of me, man. I was giving up everything that I had to pursue something that I was genuinely passionate about, I believed in. I did the market research, and there was nothing out there like what we were doing. And I knew it was just a matter of time before stuff like this started popping up. And with, the advancements in technology, we had the capability to create it, and it was a no-brainer. But yeah, I'll tell you what, man, what we're talking about happened over 4 years ago. In this specific product, we've only been live for about 2 years. So there was about a 2-year period where it was learning, grinding, hustling, like education, man, trial and error. Like, I've put in my dues, man. I'll tell you that for sure.
Well, okay, cool. This is good. So let's talk to the entrepreneurs who, because I've heard this, and I've heard it recently, and it gets under my skin every time I hear it. I hear things like, but Jay, I've been working at this for 6 weeks, and I've done everything you said to do, or I've been working so hard. That's usually how it comes out. I've been working so hard. You have no idea. But it hasn't happened for me yet, and it's only been like 2 months. What would you say to that person?
I would say, it's funny. I was literally just talking about this morning. I was sharing a story that actually one of our customers is Darren Hardy, and Darren was telling me about the whole Model T and Henry Ford story, and how he failed, and he gave up this incredible job to pursue his own ideas, his own business. And he failed over and over for years before he created the Model T, and now the Ford and all that stuff. And of course now, he's known as one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. But his story is, the beginning is all about failure and trying over and over and not necessarily getting stuff right. And it's not necessarily about failure, but it's about the effort and the consistency in which he worked towards his passion and his ideas, and understanding that there is no such thing as an overnight success. I've talked to a lot of successful people, man. I've never heard one person who was a genuine overnight success. And the people who happen to stumble upon success, because if you don't go through the grind, if you don't go through the struggle to really figure out what it takes to be successful, then when you become successful, you're never going to be able to maintain it, because you don't have that grit. You don't have that struggle, that strength, right? Through struggle comes strength. Like you got to grind, man. And it only makes you stronger. So what I would say to your listeners is, if you feel like you've been hustling and struggling and your time is coming, just keep in mind that you're on the right track. And the only way you fail is if you quit. So keep pushing and never give up, man. That's it.
Okay, now you've got my attention, because many people may not know who Darren Hardy is, but here's what I know. I know he's not necessarily a personal trainer in the same sense that you're talking about. So how it sounds like your service is very pliable. It can be used by many different industries.
Yeah, that's right. And Darren is not a trainer. Darren, right. he dabbles with a lot of different things, but I think in one word, he's an entrepreneur. He uses our text messaging platform to inspire and educate entrepreneurs around the country. And he sends out a daily text message to everyone on his list. And they are absolutely phenomenal. I'll tell you what, he has almost 100,000 people that he's texting on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. And the only tickets or the only calls that we get in regards to Darren Daly are people who are losing their mind because they accidentally opted out of his program and they don't know how to get back in. Like, the dude has it all figured out, man. He's providing tremendous value to people directly to their phones, and he understands it. I mean, look, at text messaging is hands down the number one form of communication that exists today. It's not even close. Like, there's studies that show 98% of text messages are read within the first 5 minutes of that message being sent.
Whoa. Hold on. Someone's dogs barked. Someone was washing the dishes. They didn't understand the importance of that. I know you've said it so many times. I get the importance, but they need to get the importance of what you just said. That one little piece. Please say it again.
Text messaging is the number one form of communication that exists today. 98% of text messages that are sent are read within the first 5 minutes or less.
Yeah.
So it just blows my mind how more businesses aren't utilizing this platform to connect with their audience, whether it be customers or prospects.
Well,
right?
You know what I think, and I'll speak a lot about the real estate people at the moment, is that oftentimes we feel it's, that technology is behind us or beyond us, and we don't necessarily see how it fits within what we do. And I mean, I tell people all the time, in real estate, we're still using paper and and notaries and stuff where, you got to be in person in a lot of cases to actually transact things. It still moves completely differently. But the people that I've managed to convince in the real estate world, like, look, you need to use more technology, have seen great lift in terms of customer growth and strategy. So what I would love to hear is, what are some of the ways that a business can grow, specifically grow or retain or get just better everything when it comes to using text messages?
Yeah, so I think the idea here, or the real value prop, is that you have an opportunity to be certain that your message gets in front of your people, right? And what that is marketing, right? Like advertising. What are we trying to do? We're trying to get our message in front of our prospects, or we're trying to get our message in front of our customers. So when you have a platform that has a 98% chance that your message is going to get in front of your people, like, why aren't you going there? And the main response we get to that is some people feel it's too personal of a communication platform, and it could potentially seem invasive if you text me from your business. And my response to that is, it really is not. It just depends on what you're sending them. Now, I always joke, if let's say you're in real estate and you get a lead and all you're doing is texting them every single day, hey, buy my stuff, or whatever it might be, then people are going to be like, holy smokes, you're annoying as heck. I'm opting out of this program. But if you do nothing but send them maybe listings of like these ideal homes in their ideal area that are in their budget or something like that, and you're asking them if they're interested or whatever it might be, if you're sending value to them, if you're sending something that's going to get them excited to see that message, now it's fair game. Like, now you're talking about messages that your prospects or your clients want to receive. Right. And this is why it was a no-brainer for me in the fitness space, is because the people I was texting were paying me a lot of money to help them achieve a goal. So if they told me, I don't like when you text me, I'm like, look, I don't have to text you, but I'm doing it because I want to make sure you're doing the right things. I want to make sure you're successful. And what is that telling my client? It's telling them how much I care. So we can do this in the real estate industry. We can do this in the restaurant industry. We can do this in any service industry, right? If we show our clients how much we care, then we can text them, as long as we're texting them with stuff that show them that we care.
Yeah, totally. I love it a lot, because oftentimes what you described at the beginning is exactly what real estate people do, is that they only communicate with the people in their database when they have something to sell. And I'm like, okay, that's wonderful, but that's not going to get it done.
Yeah, so imagine if you had a text platform or something as a real estate
Oh, I'm
agent.
imagining. Keep talking.
And maybe it's not the daily text message that many trainers send their clients. Maybe it's a monthly or every other month you send a text just saying, "Hey Jay, I hope you're doing well. Just thought I'd drop you a line and say hello, and I hope all is well." Or, "Hey, let's get together for a drink or lunch one of these days," or something like that. Whatever it might be. It may be one time it's like, "Hey, I don't know if you're in the market, but this came up, or if anyone you know might be interested, check this out." Like, or just some did you know type stuff. Just educate them or entertain them or whatever it might be. But if you find a way to deliver value, what is it doing? It's keeping your name relevant. So if
Yep.
I go to sell my house and I haven't heard from you in 7 years since the last time I bought my house, I might have met dozens of real estate agents in that time, and I might have developed a relationship with somebody else. But if in those 7 years you've continued to make yourself relevant in one way, shape, or form, and you show me that you're genuinely a nice dude and you care and you're here to
Yeah.
help,
Yeah.
then I'm always gonna as soon as I think I gotta buy a new house or I gotta sell my home, like I'm going to Jay.
Yep. Yep. I'm loving everything that you're saying right now, because I don't think I know myself. I'm sitting here thinking between my investor pool, my student pool, all these people that I could be keeping in contact with on the phone. It's not something I'm currently doing, and I'm just like, I think I need to talk to my marketing people. And I'm like, this is an opportunity we are not capitalizing on. So tell me some of the crazy stories. Like, what have some of your customers been able to see in terms of either growth or retention, or a lift in revenue, or what's the effect? Like, what are the results that get generated by using this particular platform, or figuring out a way to integrate text messaging and tie their businesses?
There's so many, and it's awesome because it really depends on how somebody's utilizing the system. This is what I love most about it. So when we developed our product, it wasn't at all about fitness so much. It was about business. So I know if you get a lead, I know the worst thing you can do if I say, "Hey Jay, I'm interested." The worst thing you could do is wait a week or two to follow up with me. The best thing you can
Whoa,
do.
whoa. Hold on. You just hit another pet peeve right there. And I'm telling you, people tell me this all the time, and they're just like, I just met them. I don't want to pressure them. I don't want to contact them so soon. Say that again, please.
So if you get a lead, if you have a lead, if somebody expresses interest in your business in any way, shape, or form, the worst thing you can do is wait a week or two to follow up with them. And we have studies that prove this. And the best thing that you can do is follow up with them within 24 hours. Okay.
Yes.
So you have to follow up with that lead within 24 hours. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to bug them. You can say, "Hey, David, it's nice meeting to you. I'm looking forward to learning more about how I can help you. Here's my number. Reach out anytime." Right? Anything like that. What we do is with the fitness space. What we've done is we say something along the lines of, "Hey, Jay, it's nice to meet you. Thanks for your interest in my business. So that I can learn more about you and your goals, please submit this form." And on that form, it's your health and fitness questionnaire, right? So now there's a link in that text message. So we send a text, not necessarily an email, because a very successful email campaign on average is going to get about 22% read rate. If I send a text, 98% within 5 minutes or less, right? So we send the text. We're not doing the email with our platform. We send the text and we try to identify this prospect information. What are your goals? What are your pain points? How can I help you? And why are your goals so important to you? Right? And these are business best practices. This can be, these questions can be tweaked to fit any business model, any market. So you identify what your prospect is looking for and how you could help them. And then once you get that information from your questionnaire or your form, we send a follow-up message to try to get them on the phone or to try to meet with them in person, because that would be the next best step. If you were doing the stuff manually, it would be, okay, let's follow up with them with our leads within 24 hours. And let's connect with them. Let's get them to know, like, and trust us a little bit so that potentially one day we can provide a solution to their problems and we can do business together. right? So we identify some of these things, and then we go as far as saying, okay, now that you're a little invested in the relationship by telling me these things, now let's set up a phone call, or let's set up that in-person consultation or appointment, and then you schedule that, and now it's your opportunity to sell your services by providing a solution. Now, what's cool about it is if you collect that information up front prior to the consultation, now you have ammo, right? You are in a much better position to provide a solution, which is your job, to provide a solution for our prospects' problems. And if you can prove that, and you show them how much you care about the results that you're going to provide, they're going to do business with you.
Yep.
So you're putting yourself in a much better position to close sales.
I love it.
And we've automated that process. That's what we obsess over.
Well, and even for those that may have mastered or done something similar with email, the idea of being able to do that same thing in a completely different format, because it's one thing to be, in someone's email box, or it's another to be on their phone. I mean, if you think about, because as you're talking, I just keep thinking about how many people aren't that wanted to get the email, but maybe life got in the way or what have you, but they're going to get that text message.
Or the email that they were looking for hit their spam folder, or they didn't get around to it in time, and maybe your competitor beat you to it by texting them or calling them or whatever it might be.
No, that never happens. That never happens.
The reason I was texting my clients is because I started by emailing them. I would email them. I created private groups on Facebook, and I was just trying to deliver a touch point however I could. Now, it all became too time consuming for me because on Facebook, I had clients who weren't on Facebook, or they didn't check their Facebook all that often. And then I had clients who I would send an email to, and they would say, oh, I don't ever look at my emails, or oh, I saw it, but I was already home in bed with the kids. I couldn't go to the gym. It was too late. So it got to the point where I was texting my clients, check your email. And then they would do it, right? So that evolved.
Right.
That evolved to me just really simplifying what I was sending them. And just saying, instead of check your email, now it was just, hey, man, run a mile today and for time and text back your time. And as soon as I started doing that, now everybody sees my message, and it's a simpler ask. I'm not giving them this long workout with sets, reps, all this stuff. Now it's, hey, do something simple, because the character count back then on text messaging. So I simplified my message, which is good. Right. And I sent it to them via text, and then I provided some accountability by asking them to text back. And that changed everything for me.
So let me ask this. When they text back, is that information captured?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh. So, yeah, and that's a big part of it. So,
dude.
I'm telling you, man, we did this right. So, and we did. It's really cool. Like I told you, 2 years of grinding, learning, doing our market research. There was no other company doing what we were doing. And even the company that the SMS Masterminds at the time, like their clients could respond, but then I couldn't respond to that without it being way too much work. Right. So I'm like, oh man, this isn't going to work either. So we've created basically this text messaging platform that is really doing just what you're already doing from your phone. But now, instead of being limited to 10 people in a group that I could text to thousands of people. Like I told you, Darren's sending almost 100,000 messages every morning to people around the country, and they absolutely love him for it. They love him for it. I mean, you guys could check that out, not to pitch Darren's stuff, but I mean, for any of your listeners, I'm sure they will get tremendous value from what he's putting out, because they are golden nuggets every morning. It's DarrenDaily.com is his product that we run. And it's completely free, and it's a service he just gives away, and it is great for entrepreneurs.
Love it. So let me ask this, because here's what I know. I know that anyone who's listened this far, they've drank the Kool-Aid. They want more of what you're putting down. So what's going to be the best way for them to find out more about what you guys are up to? Maybe even begin the process for themselves. So that they can understand, just the level and the depth of the opportunity that you guys represent.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for your listeners, the average entrepreneur could best put themselves in a position to learn and really figure this stuff out by going to smsmasterminds.com.
Got it. And when they get there, is there anything in particular that they should look for first?
On the page, there's some of our different products and services, and they'll be able to navigate through the site, which makes the most sense for them. They could contact me. I can give you my direct contact info. That's david@offdaytrainer.com.
Okay.
If there's any confusion for your listeners still, Off Day Trainer is a division of the SMS Masterminds company. So when you go to smsmasterminds.com, you'll see an Off Day Trainer link there as well, but I just don't want to confuse anyone.
Totally understood. Okay, so as we wrap up here, I've got a final question for you because I'm interested to hear your answer. Let's pretend for a moment that someone listening is standing in front of what I would call the superhero outfit store. They think they're ready to try on that entrepreneur outfit. They're ready to pick out their cape and their tights or their mask, and they're like, hey, I'm going to fly. So the same thing, though, tends to happen. And I know you've got a lot of experience at helping people through what I'm about to ask you. When that person is standing in front of the store, at the same time, in the back of their head, there's that voice. It's that voice that comes up anytime we try to say or reach for something bigger or greater than our current and present place. And it says things like, who are you to, think you're going to be able to, and I guess in your case, who do you think you are? You're going to actually lose some weight or get in shape finally, or you're finally going to really get the business done. Who's going to buy anything from you? And for some people, that voice is they're even related to that voice. So my question to you is as follows. Let's pretend that person is standing in front of you, standing in front of the store, ready to move forward. However, they're hearing that, but you now know something. They've made a commitment. They said, you know what, David? In the next 24 to 48 hours, I will do exactly what you suggest. What would you tell them?
That's good. You went a different direction on me there. It's so good. And I had all these ideas as you were scripting that up. If I would tell them to first and foremost, make sure that before they put that Superman costume on, that is what they're passionate about. And they believe in it with every ounce of them. And if that's the case, everything else can be taught. You can learn. And if you're willing to work, then you're going to be okay. Now, the reason I say you have to be passionate about it, and I know that word gets thrown around all the time, but genuinely, look forward, get before bed, all you're thinking about is your passion and this opportunity. And the first thing you think of, you jump out of bed and you slap that alarm because it just you're up before the alarm goes off, right? You're just obsessing over these ideas, these dreams that you have. And if that's you, put that freaking Superman costume on and go to work, because no matter what, it's going to be hard. And it's going to be a grind. Like your clients who are telling you, I've been working for 6 months. That's part of the process. But understanding that it's part of the process and recognizing that it's part of the process is huge. And if you can do that and you look at challenges or adversity as opportunity to grow, and you're obsessed with it, then you're going to embrace these challenges and you're going to push through all the hard times. When most people quit, you're still working because this is what speaks to your soul.
Yeah. And oh man, you said it right there. Because when, and it's not an if most people quit, it's when most people quit, you're going to still be working. And that in and of itself thins the herd so well.
That's right, man.
It really, really does. Well, I do want to say I appreciate you taking the time to share your information, your knowledge, your wisdom. Thank you for going through the journey and persevering and creating what you've created so that now all of us as entrepreneurs have something, another way to interact with our customers and make things happen. Again, thank you for sharing your knowledge, wisdom, as well as your insights, sir, with us here today at the Cashflow Diary.
Jay, thanks for having me, man. It was an honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. It's time for you to move at the speed of instruction. What does that mean? That means smsmasterminds.com. When? Now. Why? Because you already said, I'm listening to this podcast because I want to get something out of it that's going to help me earn more money, make more sales, make my business better. And well, we just gave you a golden ticket. All you got to do now is go cash it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun talking to you today. I look forward to talking to you soon. Until next time.